Hey guys, welcome back to my Interlocking Crochet Summer Direction Crochet Along. This is now light arrows section. You can see we've already done chevron A, dark arrows because they're dark in the middle, chevron A one more time, then we did chevron B, and now if you've counted your stitch markers along the side, this was 70, which means we are at 71. Row 71 starts the section called light arrows. Isn't that amazing? You know, the difference is that inside here where it's dark, these ones are going to be light. The dark is my purple, the light is green. So it does start when you're looking at the right side, but you'll notice that I don't have a tutorial for if you're starting it the other direction, because in my pattern I don't actually have this repeated again. So if you're mixing and matching, you can't really mix and match this one. You'll have to be careful about that, or you'll have to learn how to read the charts, okay? So we are at light arrows, row 71. We're starting with the accent color. We're looking at the front. We're going to chain 3 in the front. And of course, this isn't really a tutorial as much as it is going through the stitches. If you need a tutorial on this technique, you got to check out my other videos because I'm not doing it very slow here. And we got to our star already. You remember from the other videos that this is the repeats. Now it's very exciting, this row. They're all the same. It's just all 9 in the back. Oh, I should probably read the pattern better. Hey, let's pay attention. Okay, we did our chain 3 in front, but it says 9 in the back. There we go. Silly me. Okay, 9. And you could count them if you want, but it just goes all the way across. And the stitch that's outside of the star, outside of the repeat, is also in the back. So you don't really need to count them, although you can if you're unsure about skipping a stitch. And I'm pretty much caught up with both my videos. I've been trying to do the mosaic version and the interlocking version, and I just finished the mosaic light arrows section, and now I'll be doing this one. So hopefully I can get back to making these videos faster. I don't know. It's been a lot more work than I expected, and I feel like the videos are not that cool. I don't know. I wish I had a team. Who wants to be my team? Maybe I just need to be more famous. Then I can have people who will do my hair and makeup for the video where I don't show my face. I hope that doesn't bother you guys. I have shown my face in other videos. It's not that I'm scared to show my face. It's just that this is really all about the pattern, right? Oh, I should have said when I was doing that, I did the repeat, I did the final one outside of the star, and then I did the front stitch. So I should stop babbling and pay attention to the pattern, right? Okay, we flipped our work. We're now looking at the wrong side. Remember, you can tell because these are all dashes. And we are going to use our main color. Our accent color, tail and working loop has to be kept to the back. That's what the A, C, B, the accent color to the back. And we're going to chain 3. Now it's just on the edge so it doesn't say front or back. And then we're going to put 1 in the back. And then we have our star that tells us the repeat. And again, this one's not that exciting because now we're just going to do 9 in the front. It's just making a stripe all the way across. Stripes are much easier when you're doing mosaic crochet. When you're doing it in interlocking like we are, a stripe means that every single stitch you have to kind of move things around. It's harder to find. So remember, we're going to go in, we're pulling it to the front, and then we do our yarn over. So I hope you guys have that figured out by now, because we're already like more than halfway through the blanket. Or this is the halfway point, I think. Yeah, I think this is the halfway point. Although maybe you're just jumping right into the middle. I don't know. Who knows why you're watching this video? Maybe you don't even know how to crochet and YouTube was like, hey, check out my video. I don't know if YouTube does that. I didn't pay them any money to do that, so they probably don't. Now we did 9 in the front if you were counting. There's an end stitch here, but then to keep these 3 dark, light, dark, this one has to go. It's outside of the star, so we have to put 1 in the back. And don't forget the chain spaces between all of your double crochets. There we go. And now if your piece was bigger, I would put a stitch marker there so that you're not gonna accidentally pull it out when you're doing this one. But because my section is so short, I trust myself not to pull that one out. Now remember, this one says chain 3 in back, but that's because we're already in the back. It's already too late. We're stuck there. You can change it if you want to, if you've had a problem, but mine is good, so we're going to keep going. We're going to put 1 in the back, and then we reach our star, and it says put 1 in the back, and then it says 7 in the front. So again, this is, I guess, a little bit more irritating with the interlocking because you're always pulling things around, but for me it's just become second nature, so I don't find it that hard. I know when I first started it was, and that's why I don't want to lie to you and say this is super duper easy, because it isn't the most easy thing I've ever done. And I think that that's disingenuous if I try to trick you and say, hey, here's something super easy, and you have a hard time with it. Then you might just feel like it's you, and it's not you. It's weird. These stitches are strange. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I gotta keep going. 6. I guess I'm a bit chatty today. 7. Then we're gonna put 1 in the back, and that's the end of our stars. So if you were repeating this, you're going to start at the beginning again, right, and put another 1 in the back, and then the 7. We are at the end. It says end in back, so I just pull that purple one down out of the way so that I can go behind it, right? There we go. And I try not to have these things get too tangled, so I'm just going to spin them a bit. Row 74, we're looking at the right side. Accent color is here at the front. Our main color, we're going to start with chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And if you do it too tight, if you find it's pulling it too much, you can always do a 4th chain. Then we're going to put 1 in the front, making sure to keep those tails out of the way at the front here, right? Then our star, I know, is very exciting. It just says 8 in the back and 1 in the front. So it's hard to really see why this is very exciting for now. But I promise those little arrows are super cute. It'll be worth it. 2 and come on, here we go. 3. This is also why some people like to go up a hook size, because they don't like how tight everything is. I actually really like it. I like the way it's so tight and thick, but you can change things. It's your project. I'm not going to be hurt. I think I should have counted again because I got too many talking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Okay. 6 in the back. 7 in the back. 8 in the back. There we go. So then we have to put 1 in the front, and then that's the repeat. So you're going to do 8 in the back again, 8, 1, 8, 1, 8, 1, till you get to your end like me. Then we're going to put 1 in the front, and don't forget your end stitch is on the side here to keep that border. Row 75. We're already in the front, so we're going to chain 3. Then our star starts right away with 1 in the front and 6 in the back. So we're going to count it this time. I'm going to try not to be chatty. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I say and to remind myself, 5 and, because sometimes I forget that chain space even though I've done a million of these projects. 6 and, so then we have 1 in the front, 1 in the back. That's the end of the star, so you do your repeats until you get to the end. We're going to put another 1 in the front, and our end stitch is also in the front. Goes right into that chain loop. We are moving quickly here. Doesn't go too too slow when you have only one repeat. Although I'm always scared I'm going to pull on this, and I'm scared for a good reason. It's because I have done it before where I pull on it and I go, oh no, my hook actually wasn't in there. Oops. So the accent color, the tails and everything, they're in the back. I'm going to go chain 3. I got 1 in the back, so don't get around those little cords. There I go. And the star tells you to start here. We're going to start with 2 in the back. Make sure you're reading the pattern. I do that a lot because it's an interrupted, and normally if there's 2 and then 1, if I just look at the numbers, it's really just back, front, but that star is interrupting back stitches. Then we have 2 in the back and 7 in the front, and you'll just repeat that all the way across your blanket. Or maybe you're just making a scarf like me and you just have 1 repeat. That's fine too. 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. That's the star. So then you do it over and over till you get to the end. We're going to put 1 in the back because that keeps our lines nice and straight on the front, and an end stitch on the side. Now if you put your loop under, then it doesn't tangle. That's how I do like a skipping rope. Row 77, of course, chain 3 in the back. We're already in the back because of where we put our tails before. And then we're going to put 1 in the front. And then that's the star telling us in those brackets we're going to do back, front, back, front. So go back, front. That's 1 repeat of the brackets, and it says times 2, so we're going to do it again. Back, front. Then it says another back, but this time we're going to do 4 in the front. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And our final stitch says end back. We're done those repeats. We're flipping our work again. Right side, that means we're looking at the right side, RS. Where's my loop? There we go. Pull it, no, make sure it's on the hook. There we go, right side, accent color is in the front, the tails are out of the way. Chain 3. Put 1 in the front. Then the star tells us this is where we would start repeating. It says 3 in the back. 1, 2, 3, 1 in the front, 2 in the back, 1 in the front, 2 in the back. And that's the star. I have to finish what I can talk faster than I can crochet, of course. The star tells us we're done, so we're just at the border. We're going to put 1 in the front and the end stitch on the side. Row 79, starting with chain 3 on the front. The stars right away tells us we're going to start with 6 in the front. So 1, 2. It can be hard to find those stitches because it all just looks the same. So you might need to look at the back to make sure that when you're picking your stitch, you are getting that one, but then keep it on the front, right? 3, and I use my finger actually a lot. It pokes me. That's how I know I'm in the right stitch. But don't poke too hard. That would not be nice. 5, 6. Then we're going to put 1 in the back. There's not very good visual cue yet, so I'm not sure how to tell you except for just to count. And then 2 in the front again, and that's the star, so it interrupts your front stitches. If you're putting stitch markers, it'll be right in the middle of a group of 8 in the front, right? But we're at the end of the blanket or table runner or scarf or whatever we happen to be making. So we are going to put 1 more in the front, and our final stitch is also in the front, right on there. Row 80. We were looking at the wrong side. That accent color is out of the way. Chain 3, put 1 in the back. Then the star tells us that we're going to put 2 in the front. This is our repeating section. I wonder how many of you have muted me, which I wouldn't know, because if I ask you visually, you're just watching and I say, hey, have you muted me? But if you've muted me, you won't hear me ask. So I don't know. Those are the things I think about. Anyway, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. Then another 1 in the front and 2 in the back. Then 3 in the front. 1, 2, 3, and that's the star. So you'd be doing your repeats. You go do 2 more in the front till you get to the end of your thing, blanket, shawl, I don't know what you're making. We're going to put 1 in the back and our end stitch right on the side. It says chain 3. We're already in the back. Just double checking that we're in the right place, of course. And then our front stitch, make sure you're not using this because that's where the chain 3 is coming out of. I've seen that mistake before. So we make sure that it goes in the next stitch, 1 front. Then our brackets, we're going to, well, the star starts and the brackets. That's a lot of information, right? I'm going to go back, front, back, front. And then we're going to put another 1 in the back and do 4 in the front, and then you'll be repeating that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is the end of the star. So our final stitch actually goes in the back. Move that purple out of the way and in the back. We are on row 82. You're looking at the right side. The accent color is brought up here in the front. Our main color, we're going to chain 3. Then we're going to put 1 in the front, and these tails somewhat get in the way, but not too bad. Then that starts our repeating star. We're going to put 4 in the back. So bring it to the back. 1, and there we go. 2, and 3, and 4. Then we're going to put 2 in the front. So I'm not sure if you can visually see what's happening here. We've made this little box. That's the arrow for that direction. And now we're working on the arrow going the other direction. So we've put 1 in the front, then we got 2 in the front, there we go. And 1 in the back. And 2 more in the front. That's our repeating section, so of course you're going to do it over and over again until you get to the end. We're going to put another 1 in the front. That's part of our border. And our end stitch right on the side. So this is 83. And we are in the front, of course, we're already stuck there. 1, 2, 3. Then our star is starting right away with 1 in the front and 4 in the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then our brackets tell us to do front, back, front, back. So we're going to go front, back, front, back. And that's the end of the star. Of course, you're going to do repeats until you get to the end of your piece. We have another front stitch, and then we'll do the end stitch also in the front to keep those border lines looking nice. Switching to our main color again. We're flipping it. Now we're going to be looking, this is the wrong side. We're going to put this accent color away from us to the back. We're going to chain 3. We're going to put 1 in the back. Make sure you don't get tangled with those loops. And then the star interrupts it because we're actually putting another one in the back. Then we're going to go front and back. And then, oops, sorry, my tension is a bit weird, I guess, for the video. It's different trying to make sure that your stitches are visible on a video. You should try it sometime. So then we're going to do 5 in the front. You can tell that this is the wrong side. It's hard to see really an image. It's all about the other side, right? So 1, 2, 3. Oh, there we go. 4, 5. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the front. Then we're going to put 1 in the back, and then our star, that's the repeat. So you're going to go put another one in the back and then follow it along again and star, star, right? Of course, you know what you're doing. You should know by now, hopefully. And I'm at the end, so I'm putting another one in the back. It's always weird when the star interrupts instructions that are the same, like 2 backs, right? I always find that weird. Then we put 1 end stitch on the side. Row 85, of course, tells us that we're going to put chain 3 in the back. The back part is just to remind you that that's where you already should be. Then our first stitch is 1 in the back. Then the star interrupts again. We're going to put another one in the back. 1 in the front. And then 7 in the back. So if you're doing a lot of repeats, you'll actually have 8, 1, 8, 1, 8, 1. But you're kind of going to be counting like 7 stitch marker 1, 1, right? Gets a little bit weird. I hope it's not too confusing with all these repeats. I hope I've made it clear in my videos, or maybe you've seen other designers do it and you know what you're doing. Unfortunately, I do know that I am not a perfect teacher, so if this isn't working for you, don't give up on the technique, okay? There's other people out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 1 more in the back here. That's the end of my star. So I'm at the end. I'm going to put my final stitch also in the back. So behind that purple. And back to the next color. We're again looking at the right side. That accent color tail and the working loop have to be in the front. We'll chain 3 and we'll put 1 in the front. Kind of locks those loops there. And then that's where the star interrupts everything. We're going to put another one in the front. And then we put 5 in the back. It is easier to find those back stitches when you have this flap that you can move out of the way, because you're just going into the stitch just like normal, but now you can get that piece out of the way. Whereas when there's stripes, it's harder to get them out of the way. But we do still have to count. Here we go. This is my 4th one and 5th. Then we're going to put another one in the front. So we got to bring that flap, put it back where it belongs. Make sure everything's lining up. 1 and then 2 in the back. That's the end of the star. So of course you'll do your repeating between the stars till you get to the end of your piece. We're going to put 1 in the front. It's that border line. A very exciting border, I know. And our end stitch right on the side. We're on row 87. Chain 3 in the front. These little stitch markers, I don't like how they tick on the ground, but I can't fix it. Put 1 in the front, 4 in the back, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Then the brackets are telling us to do front, back, front, back. 1 front, 1 back. Do it again. 1 front, 1 back. That's the end of your brackets. So we're going to put another one in the front outside of the star. And our end stitch is also going to be in the front. We are using our main color now. We're at row 88. That accent tail is in the back. It's kind of out of the way. Chain 3. Our first stitch is going to go in the back. It kind of locks those tails down so that they don't keep flopping to the front. And then our star tells us to do 3 in the front. Two in the back. Oh, don't lose your thing. There we go. Oh my goodness. Sorry guys. I've been crocheting up a storm here, trying to get all sorts of projects done. I always like to have a million things on the go. Then we're going to have 4 in the front. I try to mix it up between like crocheting and doing other things so that my body doesn't hurt. Like, I'm sure you've had a marathon crocheting session where you just go, 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 and then you're like, oh, actually I should have stretched, right? I try to mix it up, but right now it's a lot of crochet. That is the end of our star. So I'm done my repeats. I'm going to go 1 in the back and the end stitch on the side. This is row 89. We're getting really close to the end. Whew. 1, 2, 3 in the back. Then we're going to put a stitch here in the front. The star is interrupting it because we're going to put 2 more in the front now. Then back, front, back. And then 4 in the front. And that's the star repeats, of course. I'm hoping to see a few blankets. I'm hoping that you guys are making something big and impressive. And then you're going to share it off to your friends and be like, look how cool I am. Woohoo! And they're going to say, wow, that's amazing. You should totally sell that. And then you'll be like, hey, you want to buy it? Oh, I don't know. You want $5 for it? Right? Isn't that how it goes? I'm sorry. That's the end of our star. We're going to put our final stitch in the back before I go off on a rant. You can rant and rave to me. It's okay. I know it's ridiculous. If you're trying to make a go of it, selling crocheted pieces, and people are like, wow, you're so talented. You should sell that. And then you try to sell it and people are like, yeah, I can get it cheaper at Walmart. Oh, okay, fine. But the true thing I've been learning is that really that just isn't your customer, right? There's a lot of cool business coaches out there, and I'm not really one of them. So don't come to me for business advice. I'm barely making my own business. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. But there are business coaches out there, and they will help you value yourself so that you can find the right customer. And if you actually want to make a go of it, you can. It's just hard. Now, if you wanted to, you could put your stitch marker right away, but I'm going to wait until I've got one locked down here. So it says one in the front. Now, if I was using stitch markers to denote where those stars were, this would be a perfect time because I already had to put my work down anyways, right? And we're going to put that right in the loop so that I don't forget again, because you know me. This is like flamingo pink. That's fun. Ooh, I should put pink in my next project. Anyways, go. We're going to keep going to the stars. It says 4 in the back. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's, if you're paying attention to the image, that's kind of like the arrow, right? So this next one here is making the point. It's one front, and then the rest are in the back again. So if you have a lot of repeats, maybe you don't need to count. You can just pay attention to when you get to that part of the arrow. Just an idea. I probably would personally count because that's what my brain likes to do. 3 and 4, so that's the star. When you get to the end of your piece, it says put another one in the front. Well, my green one got a little tangled here. I'm just going to push that away. There we go. Put one in the front and your end stitch on the side. There we go. I don't know why this green one's coming up. I thought I had things not so tangly. I thought I was doing good. Oh well, it'll be fine. It's fine. Oh, did you see what I just did there? I thought it was on and it was not. Whew. Nearly gave myself a heart attack. Okay, I'm getting too silly tonight. I guess we had too much sugar. We had donuts. The local bakery was having a sale. I bought some donuts. 1, 2, 3. We're in the front. This is row 91, so our star says go 4 in the back. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then it says put 2 in the front, so that's part of that arrow. We're kind of outlining the arrow, if that helps you to know what you're doing. I don't know. And then we're going to put 3 in the back again. So if you're doing a lot of repeats, it might be helpful to know where the arrow is. But otherwise, you can do 4 and 3 and 2 and 4 and 3 and all that. I hope I'm not confusing with all these numbers. I am babbly. So that's the end of our star. We're going to put another one in the back and one in the front. And that is the end of that row. In row 92, turn it, of course, your accent color is in the back. We're going to chain 3. The first stitch is in the back because it's keeping those border lines nice and straight. And the star is just saying 9 in the front. So you don't actually have to count if you don't want to, because it's just all the same. As long as you keep track of those border stitches, it's a nice fun row. You can just go, go, go. I hope you're enjoying the crochet along. Let me know if the videos were helpful. I know sometimes people have been like, hey, can you show a video of this or show a video of that? And there's just so many stitches that I don't know. This was a really big project. I'm not sure I'm going to do another video series for a while. So I hope this one is helpful and that it gets a few more people hooked into interlocking crochet. Although I do have the videos for mosaic as well. So you can see now this was our end stitch. I know that our border goes dark, light, dark. So I just know that this is the end and I have to put one in the back and one on the side. If you were counting, then you would know that you were there, but I wasn't counting. I'm too busy talking to nobody. It would be better if I had a friend to crochet with, if we were like in town together, or if I had more planned time of like, okay, Dad's taking the kids away. Really, this is so impromptu. I couldn't really do a live because nobody would join in because they wouldn't know I was doing it. I don't know. Maybe I have to be more organized. That's okay. We're on row 93. We've done our 3 in the back. We're going to do 1 in the front And then our star says 9 in the front. So you don't really need to know that the repeats are differing there. You're just going to make all your stitches in the front. And the front and the front and the front is because it's making all these stripes, right? So it does make it annoying because you have to go through the window to get your stitch. It's much easier in mosaic crochet to do stripes, but it is possible, and it does keep your fabric nice and dense. I like it personally. I know some people won't, but that's okay. And technically on this side, you can see the stripes go like this, and on this side the stripes go like this. So that's kind of fun. It's like reversible but different, which the arrows are technically reversed as well. All the stitches are opposite, but it's not an inverse picture. You can see that it does have the general shape, but it's not really reversible in my opinion. Now we did 9 all the way across until our final border line. It has to go in the back. So you can count it if you want to, or you can just get to the end of your blanket and realize that that's where you need to put it. Row 94, this is the last row of our light arrows section. And I know arrows and lines, maybe you don't want a whole bunch of stripes in your blanket and you're thinking, why are we making all these lines? But I think it really separates things, and that's for some reason my camera cut out, so I was in the middle of telling you that these lines are important, but blah blah blah. This is row 94. You have done this kind of thing before, where you're just chaining 3. You're putting 1 in the front because of these border lines, and then you're making a stripe. So you don't really need to count, but all the stitches are in the back this time. So we go 1. I guess you can count if you want to. I guess I like to count. And I don't know why my camera cut out. That's so weird. But at least it only cut out 1 row this time. Not like my other videos where like 20 minutes worth of video was gone. Then I wanted to cry. But this is our last row, and I can redo 1 more row. That will be fine. And then we can show you that this nice little stripe is part of the pattern. And of course, if you aren't counting, you're just going to pay attention to those border lines on the edges, because it's dark, light, dark. Makes 3 stripes. And so these are all in the back until you get to this one here. You know that that front one has to be in the front again to keep it nice and straight. And if you make a mistake, it's up to you whether you pull it apart or not. It's just a border line, so I might not. For a video, I would. There you go. That is our light arrows, not to be confused with our dark arrows. You can see they're very the same. That's it.